This is Pet Life Radio. Let's talk pets.
Hello, all my feline fans. This is Michelle Fern, host of Cattitude. Today, we have a wow show. We are going to talk about cats. Well, you're probably thinking we always talk about cats, but these are special cats. These are large, wild, exotic cats with an esteemed Emmy Award-winning director. Stay tuned. You don't want to miss this. We'll be right back. Molly, here's your dinner. Zeus, that's not your food.
Don't let that happen to your precious cat. Elevate your cat's eating experience with the Cat Tree Tray. The Cat Tree Tray keeps your cat's food off the floor and conveniently located on the cat tree. It's the perfect way to eat. It's a beautiful wrought iron tray that easily attaches to your cat tree and keeps dogs and other critters out of your cat's dish. A must for multi-pet households. There's a 6-inch tray for large bowls and a 4-inch tray for smaller bowls. Purchase your Cat Tree Tray today. Go right now to Cattitude.on. That's Cattitude.on. Cattreetray.com.
Let's Talk Pets on PetLifeRadio.com.
Welcome back, everyone. I'd like to introduce Bob Poole. I am so excited to have him as a guest on Cattitude. He is an Emmy Award-winning cinematographer, on-camera presenter, and speaker for National Geographic. Welcome, Bob.
Thank you for having me.
I am so excited to have you. Now, you basically film cats in the wild. We're talking about lions and cheetahs and leopards and all of that in Kenya for the most part, or in Africa?
Yes, in Africa generally, but all over the world. I've worked with big cats, yeah.
We're going to get started with how you do this because I've seen the clips and they're amazing. But how did you get started in this field and especially with filming big cats?
Well, I was lucky I grew up in Africa. My parents were originally Peace Corps, and then they also fell in love with wildlife. And my father ended up directing a wildlife conservation organization that was based in Nairobi. And he worked in the national parks and in wild places all over Eastern Africa. So as a kid, I got to experience big cats in the wild and just always, of course, had a fascination with them, just the way I'm sure all your listeners do as well. I mean, it's hard not to love cats and big cats for me in particular. But they're in trouble. You know, they are in a lot of trouble. They're losing ground all over the world. And I'm really proud to be part of National Geographic's effort to try to stem the tide against them. And, you know, this Big Cat Week is really part of a greater, Big Cat initiative by National Geographic to sort of promote big cats because their habitats are being lost and they're being poached, and a lot of work needs to be done to save them.
Right. And as you mentioned, your latest film is Man Among Cheetahs, and it's part of National Geo's Wild Big Cat Week. And I know you touched on this, but why is it so important, those of us that love cats or just cats are cats, wild or not, they're still cats. There's quite a difference, of course. But why is it so important to create awareness so that everybody watches this and gets involved?
Well, I think the thing about cats is we love cats, don't we? Like you said, whether they're domestic or wild. But in the case of wild cats, big wild cats, if you save big wild cats, you save everything else that lives in their habitats, in their ecosystems, everything from the bugs to the elephants. Big cats can't live in disturbed ecosystems. They really need to have their ecosystems intact with all their prey and everything that their prey needs to survive. So I think, saving big cats is a great way to save all the wild things in nature. And it's just if we don't do it now, we're not going to have these things around for our children and grandchildren.
Yeah, and thank you for all you're doing to promote this, because it's a great cause. I've seen the clips. How do you do this? How do you get up so close to the cats to film them? Just the clip was amazing. I can't wait to watch. It's just unbelievable. If you're listening, you need to watch this. It's amazing. How do you do this?
Well, my show is called Man Among Cheetahs, and what we did was went out to film a mother cheetah and her 2 cubs. And we worked over a 2-month period and followed them 24 hours a day. It was really hard work because, this was rugged terrain, and our cheetahs are totally wild. They don't have any kind of tracking devices or anything. So it was really done the old-fashioned way of just finding the cheetahs and then sticking with them. Cheetahs don't do too much at night. They hide from their predators. Their big enemies are lions and hyenas. And so they really, mother with cubs will just bed down and hide during the night. So as long as she didn't get chased by lions or hyenas during the night watchmen could keep an eye on them, and then I could find them, at first light in the morning for filming. And then I would stay with them all day. So we did that. For 7 weeks straight, we followed this cheetah mom and her cubs. It was difficult because we'd often lose them, and then it was just starting all over again. And it's really, really hard to find these elusive cats in this huge environment.
How are you able to get, I know with filming, sometimes you're not as close as it looks, but these are wild cats, and it looks like you are fairly close.
Yeah. Well, we use really fine optical. The cameras we use are amazing. The lenses are just incredibly fantastic long lenses. So we are able to get shots from a distance. And, it's not good to be close to the animals you're filming because you would affect their behavior. And we're after natural behavior. So I try to stay a long distance away. However, when you follow an animal, they get to know you. They trust you, and they're not afraid of you after a relatively short amount of time. So they would come very close to me, and I would try to back away wherever I could, and not wanting them to become, too close to me. But it was, I must admit, it's such a privilege to be able to be in that sort of proximity to these big cats and see every detail, in their lives. It's just super exciting. And this film, Man Among Cheetahs, is a very exciting hour of television. It's a roller coaster ride as this mother keeps her cubs alive and teaches them how to survive on their own. We're really, really excited about the film. But the programming all week long on Big Cat Week is exciting. I've had the privilege of watching all the shows, and I have to say there's some amazing, amazing stuff out there going on this week, and I hope your listeners can tune in and catch all the action on National Geographic Wild, Big Cat Week.
I'm sure they will. How can you know? Most of our listeners, of course, have domestic cats. What do you think is, I know that there's some similarities that even domestic cats have that are related to big cats. Not too many, but some. What would you say some of those are, as far as like inherent, I guess, traits?
Yeah, I mean, cats are interesting, aren't they? That they're real, like they're hunters. Even a domestic cat will, you can crinkle up a piece of paper and drag it around, and they'll always, sort of attack it. The cats are playful. These young cheetah cubs are so playful, and it's really fun to watch. And their lives are so exciting. One minute they'll be sort of running for their life, and the next minute they'll be just playing and having a ball. So I think these are things that, we as humans love to watch. And I guess domestic cats are similar in that way. They're interesting to watch, and they're nice to be around.
And when you were filming Man Among Cheetahs, or maybe in another film that you did or some other project, can you share one of the most interesting, maybe dangerous or interesting experiences you witnessed?
Gosh, I've been doing this for so many years now, and I've had so many incredible experiences, especially with big cats. But, honestly, I have to say that this film, Man Among Cheetah, when you watch, you'll see what I mean. They're just, you become so attached to these animals, and to know that they could die at any minute, only 10% of all cheetah cubs make it to the age of 2. So when you take on an endeavor like this, where you're going to follow these cubs as they grow up, you realize that you could lose them, and you can't interfere with nature when you're making these kind of programs. And so, yeah, I think it's one of those things where it's a very emotional experience, spending time with these incredible animals like that and realizing how vulnerable they are. They're all such individuals.
Why are we losing so many of the big cats? What is happening? That is, I know we'll see more man-among cheetahs.
The biggest reason is habitat destruction. So humans, the population of humans on the planet is growing at an enormously fast rate. We're taking over habitat that used to be wild and free for wildlife. The second one is poaching. Big cats are hunted for their parts, for their skins, and that's a huge problem. And then it's human-wildlife conflict. So big cats, when their prey is hunted and taken out of existence, they often turn to livestock. And when they do that, then, of course, they're killed by humans who are trying to protect their livestock. So they're poisoned, they're speared, they're shot. And so we're losing big cats at an alarming rate. And that's why, this Big Cat initiative from National Geographic is so important, because they're out there, they've got projects all over the world. They've saved over 2,500 big cat mortalities already. They have projects where they're trying to mitigate conflicts between ranchers and farmers and herders and wildlife. And they're doing conservation research, to try to understand more about what big cats need to survive. So these are really, really important things, and it's just great to be a part of that, It's so much bigger than just my Man Among Cheetahs show. It's all these wonderful programs and all the work that's being done by National Geographic behind it.
We'll be right back right after this break.
It's DesignerPetSweaters.com. Hand-knitted designer sweaters for your precious pup or cool cat. Beautiful couture patterns for your pets, including custom-knitted formal wear, casual wear, yachting, and even sports-themed. Many designer pet sweaters include feathered tammy hats, top hats, and a lot of sparkle. Each sweater includes leg loops, front paw sleeves, and leash opening. Visit DesignerPetSweaters.com to order your four-legged fashions today. Your pets will stay warm for the winter and be runway ready. Large or small, we fit them all. DesignerPetSweaters.com.
Begging to hear more of your favorite show? Full episodes of all our shows are available on demand. Go to PetLifeRadio.com to fetch our entire lineup of Possum Pet podcasts. Also, dig us up in iHeartRadio and iTunes. Let's talk pets. Live and on demand, only from Pet Life Radio.
Let's talk pets.
Let's talk pets
On Pet Life Radio.
Pet Life Radio.
PetLifeRadio.com.
Welcome back, everyone. I'm with Bob Poole, and we're talking about his film, Man Among Cheetahs, on National Geo, coming up this week. Bob, this is so interesting. What can we do as people that might be countries away from Africa or just watching this? We're cat lovers. We have domestic cats at home. What can we do to make an effort?
Well, you know what? I think helping National Geographic, with their Big Cat initiative is a great place to start. NatGeoBigCats.org is a site that you can visit. It's, I always encourage people to donate to organizations that are doing good things for conservation, especially of big cats, because when you save big cats, you save the habitat for all the other animals that, occupy that environment. If you can go to Africa and visit these protected areas and see big cats for yourself, it's just a fantastic thing to do, because you support all the local people with the money that you spend, and you show the governments that conservation is worth their while. But realize that most people can't just go to Africa and do that. So logging on to NatGeo'sBigCats.org is a great place to start.
Okay, I've just seen clips and it's amazing. I just have domestic cats. I've seen, of course, cats, but not in the wild as far as, big cats. But it's mesmerizing. It's amazing what you did. And if people also want to find out a little bit more about you? Is there a place they can go to find out a little bit more about you?
Thank you for asking. Yes. So on social media, I'm Bob Poole Films, Poole. And, my website is Bob Poole Films. So anything you write with a hashtag of Bob Poole Films, you can find out all about me. And, thank you for asking. I would just say that, for your audience, that there's so many good shows on this week. I've had the privilege of watching them all, and they're all about big cats. And I think your listeners will really, really enjoy watching these things. It helps explain a lot of the behavior that you might be interested in your own domestic cats by watching cats in the wild. And I think that's another reason why, these big cats are so worth saving.
Okay, one quick question I bet a lot of listeners are wondering about. Do you have any domestic cats or wild cats in your home, Bob?
In my life, I've had cats. At the moment, I don't. I spend a lot of time gone, so it wouldn't be fair to the cat to stay here at my home while I travel, the world. And so, no, I don't. But I totally understand the appeal.
Yeah, and I think it's one of our vet show hosts that says they're like potato chips. You can't have one, so you end up with 2 or 3 or 5.
Oh, sure. I know.
And I know that, too, that so many of our listeners are interested in adoption and saving cats. This is very similar, but they're wild cats, and this is why it's so important for everybody to see Man Among Cheetahs. What last bit of info do you want to leave for our listeners?
Well, I think that these big cats all over the world are really in trouble. I think they're important, especially for people who love cats. It's important to have wild, big cats out there. It really helps understand your cats at home and how they tick, what makes them do what they do. And I just would hate to think of a world without big cats in the wild. So I hope everybody will tune in and get involved with National Geographic's Big Cat Initiative.
I'm sure they will. Bob, thank you so much for coming on Cattitude, where we're all about cats, and telling us about the National Geo's Wild Cat Week and your film as well. I wish you much success and much safety out there with the wild cats. I don't know how you do it, but your films are amazing. Everyone listening, you have to watch this. It's unbelievable. It's just no words. It's incredible. Thank you, Bob, so much.
Oh, thank you so much. It's really my pleasure.
Wow, what a great, exciting interview. So everyone that's listening, be sure to watch. It's Man Among Cheetahs. It's going to be on National Geographic. And Bob Poole also has done some documentaries for PBS, BBC, and Discovery. His films are absolutely amazing. And saving these big wildcats makes a huge difference in just the ecosystem, as Bob mentioned. And it's interesting watching them, too, because I can see some of the behaviors that my domestic cat proved in these big wildcats. Keep listening. We're going to have so many great interviews and discussions coming up soon. And I'm so excited to bring you some new things. So keep listening to Cattitude.
Let's Talk Pets, every week on demand, only on PetLifeRadio.com.